Kia ora whanau. Hope I'm coming through. Tēnei te mihi atu kia tātou katoa. Te mihi tuatahi atu kia koe, Amy. Nā rā I tukuna te wāhi ki te tonga rewa Kamehameha. Nō reira, tēnei te mihi nui atu kia koe. Tukuna hoki rātou kia haere, ki tuatārai. Nō reira tātou, ko whakawhiti mai tēnei wā, ka nui te mihi. He mihi tēnei ki te amorangi mā tauranga matua, te wānanga aro nui o tāmaki mā kaurau, te whana wāranaka o Aoraki, tēnei te mihi atu kia koutou ngā tuakana. Just to let you know, we're probably the youngest of the TEOs in the organisation, but we do provide a menu from level 1 to PhDs. But I guess our sponsors for this presentation have been around for a long time. And our sponsors, of course, is Kaputerangi, our esteemed maunga mountain that is behind us. Pūtauaki, more commonly known as Mount Edgecombe, is another one of our sponsors, and the two rivers that actually dissect our particular community, and that's Rangitaiki and Ohine Mataroa. Those beacons, those icons are very important to ensuring that we remain anchored. So I'm Kuao Wawatai. I'm basically Ngāti Pro in Whānaupanui, and as Amy pointed out, I've been involved in a long time. But in my particular brief at the moment, I'm the facilitator, the energizer of library services, student supports, professional development, tauira voice, and a whole range of other things which falls under this wonderful umbrella of support. And one of the things we're very obsessed with is that we do adopt an ecological approach to learning. Everyone is involved, including the cleaner who comes in at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's important they realize too that their contribution enhances the well-being of our tauira. And in that regard, I just want you to just have a little peep at what an ecosystem involves. It involves all the parts, and what's important is not how they're linked up, but how the heart of each of those parts begin to pour across and permeate the provision that the Learner Success Program at Awanuiārangi is embarking on. Awanuiārangi is what I call a boutique provider. It is very unique. It's not big, but as I said before, it has the richness of being able to provide a menu from level 1 to doctorates. And it has a significant Indigenous bias. So that is quite a challenge in terms of negotiating other spaces. And I just want you to have a look at this little clip about how we engage in all our inductions. Learner success is a critical part of the induction process for every staff member who chooses to have Awanuiārangi as its home of enrichment and delivery.
Tēnā koutou e ngā kaimahi hou. Ko koutou he tauira mo te tauira. I joined with many others in welcoming you to this special place of learning. I know that your unwavering dedication and commitment to our tauira will grow our reputation as a premier place of choice. We are all in this together. Every interaction you have with our tauira, be it in the classroom, Zoom, marae, in support roles, or behind the scenes, is key to shaping the tauira journey. You are the heartbeat, and your passion and hard work will cultivate an environment where tauira will thrive. Thank you in anticipation for your contributions and for making a difference in the lives of our tauira every day. Your efforts are appreciated, so let's continue our efforts to foster an inspiring and inclusive place for our tauira.
So hopefully that gives you some context in terms of how we begin to inoculate all our kaimahi, whether they're academics or whether they're support staff, in all the finance. I mean, I had some challenges about having finance believe that their contribution was significant, But essentially, they've got it now. Everybody's got it, that they must play that role where the student is the first, last, and always. Involving the community is probably one of those special elements in the triangle. We exist because we're supported by the community, and our communities must be able to receive their tauira back in a far more enhanced and better state than when they first came to us. So making sure that the community is involved is going to be critical. And guess what? About 5 months ago, we had this long discussion about staff meetings, which we typically have once a month. And I say to the executive team, let's take this staff meeting out into the marae, and let the focus of that meeting at the marae be around learner success. Let us focus on the theme of he tauira mo te tauira. Now you notice the use of that word tauira is used twice there, but they actually have different meanings. The first part there is he tauira is exemplar, or an example. And so therefore all our kaimahi must be able to portray all the elements of modelling good practice, modelling good engagement, modelling good facilitation skills for the tauira. And the tauira, of course, in this case is the student. So there's been a play on the words on this one in terms of tauira. It's almost like the French double entendre, has a double meaning. So this has been exploited to be able to drive the synergy between those two concepts and ensuring the community is involved. It is the first time we've ever done it, and it's not going to be the last time that we go into the communities, that we go onto the marae, that we talk about learner success, we talk about what it means to be successful, get a better understanding of what it does mean. And sometimes, some of the feedback has been, we just sometimes want our tauira to be good mamas and papas when they come out, to not only contribute to the economy of this nation, but to contribute positively to their own whānau and build strong kinship networks to take things forward. The first problem we came across, I know we've got to be positive all the time, but sometimes there are things that are glaring and we need to do something about it to improve the lot of our students. So the first thing we needed to look at was this whole notion of the symbolic pipeline. I know there are other models people use, people talk about ladders, but in this case, I like the pipeline model, where the tauira comes into the pipeline at the beginning, whether it's be through the web page, whether it's through reputation, they come into the pipeline. And there are parts in that pipeline right to alumni that, honestly, there are parts of it that leak. And it's quite often they're not providing good experiences. The fluidity that might take place in a enrollment process causes an angst from time to time. The slowness in responses. So those are all the things we have had to put the microscope on and be quite forensic about it. Be forensic about the pipeline. Where are the parts of engagement which are disturbing all of those things? And we found them all the way through. That it was happening all the time. There's delays, promptness around assessments, the quality around feedback. This whole process at the moment, the Ōretetanga initiative by the Awanuiārangi Mātauranga Matua, the TEC, has provided a spirit of refreshment. I mean, it's refreshed the whole approach of being able to take all this matters about students seriously. And then we started to create these words. I mean, is there carnage in the system? We started to use quite dramatic words to sort of hit home the message that, are we creating tauira wastage? Sure enough, we could see it. And therefore, that was able to create the messages through our ecosystems to not accept or tolerate any wastage through the system, and we needed to ensure that the student was able to achieve as much as they can. In fact, everything that they can in terms of signing the contract in the enrollment and making sure they get off the line without compromising any of the quality measures that are necessary for achieving those learning outcomes. So, and in an Indigenous community, we're confronted with all the contesting social elements that take place in life, the costs of living, travel. The COVID was a significant challenge, and it still is a challenge because we had to reinvent ourselves in the post-COVID arena because our bases were based in Tamaki, Auckland, Whakatane, and there was a dependency of people having to travel to these spaces. So we've had to step up in terms of the digital provision, and has been a challenge because time and time again in our Facebook, the battle cry was always, we want to be kanohi ki te kanohi or kanohi ki te. So we've had to work a number of compromises to making sure we actually don't lose the elements which represented the face-to-face contact, to humanize the experience and to socialize the experience of learning. You know, we've all been with data for a long time. Data has been around us for a long time. But I think it's only more recently we've had to take data far more seriously because we've been able to attach data to this other corollary called carnage, wastage. We must use the data now to be able to see where we can actually transfer wastage to positive contributions to society and making sure those matters don't are not affecting us. Our data examination of the 2 years have seen significant improvement in course completions. And that's because there's been a focus on course completions. That's because everybody right through the system has been aware of the data, and we've put a focus on course completions as opposed to things like retention and progression, because those things, retention, progressions, and qualifications, are all a consequence of course completion. So we've invested everything on focusing on the window that we are working in. Now, this whole issue about imagining possibilities, just simply getting all our people, all our teams, all our kaimahi to look at that data and being able to project some aspiration of where these improvements can take place. The last thing we want to do is tell them how to do it. We're wanting our teams to work it out, work with their students in terms of being able to manage these. So we're trying to keep quite hands-off in terms of the solutions, but asking people to focus on the types of questions which can provide enlightened responses. So keeping our menu fit for purpose is going to be important, and there are challenges. I mean, the learner success in Te Amorangi Mātou Rangamatua talks about oritetanga. Orite means the same. In fact, diversity means being different. It means rereke. So I have an ideological kind of contest going on in my head about things being orite and things being rereke, because I recognize the issue about the right of students to be different and to be treated differently. So that's a challenge in terms of managing tauira diversity and being able to be student-centric. When if you've got a cohort of 30, you've got 30 centres, and all those centres are different. And how do you manage that in the context of advancing a pedagogical practice? We're now being faced for the first time about the majority of our students are essentially boomers, but we're having some significant intrusions from the Gen Zs, and they are testing our systems in a very good way, positively, because they are part of the tauira diversity. And more importantly, because under my particular jurisdiction at the moment, I'm also responsible for professional development and the necessary pedagogical and ecological skills that are necessary to be fit for purpose. AI has crept up on us, and essentially it's a plus. There are many opportunities that reside in this newfound weapon of choice for many, But we need to be mindful too of the restrictions that sit in front of all these things. Reputation is very important. Learner success. If you achieve all the milestones with learner success, if you can have it inching up into the upper 90% for course completions, then I can tell you something that your reputation is going to accrue, and that's very important. It means you don't have to market so hard because word will get around, whānau to whānau, and everyone will start coming in because the reputation will enable them to do so. I mean, people argue that quality is everything. Really? Yeah, quality is important, but it's not everything. I mean, the issues that are sort of surrounding us at the moment around compliance, sometimes it's death by compliance. And so therefore we've become so immersed and so busy in the compliance actions that we forget what teaching and learning is all about. Because teaching and learning in a large respect is about the heart, it's about the mind, and it's creating the synergies between all those things and the action which provides the learner success outcomes. And the final point I want to make about this is the students we have been our koha to us. They've been gifted to us by the communities. And we keep reminding of ourselves, these students are just not an ID number. They come to us as part of a whakapapa that belongs to a community. And we must be sure that we do not disturb the integrity of the whakapapa of that tauira. So in that regard, our learning success must have a good look and feel about it. It must show to every kaimahi in the organisation that all we want from them is to be able to do the best they can. And I think I've just heard somebody saying it's not about being perfect, it's about doing the best you can and making sure that we have the right menu and change your menu if it's necessary. I mean, refresh it. And our communities, as I've said in there, they're the alpha and the omega. Our communities are the beginning and the end of every reason that a student is blessed and in our kaitiaki realm. The tauira voice, I mean, I have used Dr. Zeus there, but just in case you didn't know, he's actually from Ngāti Porou. So there's the range of tauira voice things we do. And you'll notice down the bottom there, it talks about diverse abilities. We have surgically removed any reference to disabilities. The DAP plan still exists, but it's no longer disability plan. It's the diverse abilities plan, to making sure that there's no kind of negative overture or innuendo around the issues about disabilities. We're involved in July this year of undertaking one of the most humongous contacts with those who had self-identified as disabilities. We rang them all, and we discovered some amazing things, and particularly for people who were studying on the marae, our pakeke, our old people, and we realized they were the ones who had chronic illness, and mainly because of age, lifestyle issues. And so we've actually re-engineered, realigned our responses to the diverse challenges that are being presented in those areas. I can go through each one of those, but I think I'm starting to chomp into the time. So take a look at this. It is about the 4 A's, ako, awe, and atea equals angi 2. So it's a mathematical formula that doesn't work. They're all the A's, they're 4 A's, 3 A's equals an A, and that's not mathematically possible, but it's ako, awe, atea equals angi 2. Take a look.
Wānanga is a beacon of innovation and is at the forefront of enhancing the tauira learner journey. Our tohu, the foundational tuapapa, is not just a bedrock, but a transformative platform that empowers you with profound insights and encouragement to envision beyond. The tauira journey is a tapestry woven with a sense of belonging and connection, and a curiosity for mātauranga, learning and rangahau. It is a collective celebration of excellence in all that we do and fosters a sense of pride and belonging in our whānau, hapu and hapori. Our values are intertwined qualities that form the foundation of connectedness and community norms. Aroha is a driving force behind our actions, emotions, and the power of compassion to create change. Pono gives us the strength to persevere and a sense of purpose. Tika embodies moral excellence and guides our actions towards the greater good. Ako, as a dynamic teaching and learning process, nurtures a reciprocal relationship between tauira and kaiako. Awe reflects the qualities that can ignite curiosity through a passion and attitude for learning. Atea represents the multiple spaces where ako and awe can be realized. Wānanga is resolute in modeling a passion and attitude for teaching and learning, where kaiako work in partnership with tauira to allow whānau, hapu, and hapori to flourish. Wānanga kia tātou, katoa.